Live now. Okay, since it takes a minute for this to like start up, I'll grab my tea. I think something is going off in the fridge. I don't know. All right. Leslie, good morning. Also, Philene, if you're there still, hello. I just had to grab my tea. Cheers. Music seems kind of loud. Is that just on my side? Hi, Chloe. Hi, Dre. Little boy, you closed the door. Poor little baby. Oh no. The poor baby. He was out in the cold, in the rain. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yes. Say hi to everyone. You know it's too early for your foods. We can take off your collar. Yes, I know. Hi guys. Hi Xenium. So we're just waiting on me, my brain, to get into stream mode, I guess. Hi Rochelle. And Vader just came inside after being out all day in the cold rain. Silly kitty. He's so, like, obsessed with being outside that he'll go out even if it's freezing and raining. And I can't wait to see what he thinks about snow. You're gonna be like, what is this? I know. Okay, Daddy. And, I'm not sure if you can hear, but we have... Wow, really, Vader? We have a Wolfie in the distance. Playing games. An unkept Wolfie. You know, you gotta eat your crunchies. You gotta eat your crunchies. He's used to getting his wet food when he comes in, and it's too early for that now. So that's his annoyed meow, where he's like, where's my food? But he has a whole bowl of crunchies. Spoiled little baby. So how is everyone's weekend so far? I am just ecstatic about the election results, and I'm in such a good mood, so it'll be a good paint session. I'm going to be doing a study. First, I'm going to start with this scene that the photo that's below me on the stream is a photo from Skye, and it's just before sunset. And I really want to practice capturing the colors in the hills and the reflection, of course. And I'm not sure how many boats I'll add in. I really like them, but they're also going to be tiny in the scene, so it'll be a challenge. Yeah. Well, go lay down. Before you know it, it'll be dinner time. He wants to say hi. I know. He's so talkative. He wants to learn how to paint with gouache, yes. So I'm going to be using a limited color palette again. And I think I'm going to try some different brushes today. Although these I usually use for oil. So they have really long handles, which is great for when you're standing further away from your canvas. But I just love how soft the bristles are, and I've just been exploring with different brushes lately with gouache, and I like the... I feel like I'm on the verge of finding my favorite brushes, because I've been using the same ones for so long, and I don't know, like, it does make a difference, a little bit of a difference. So we'll see. I might switch back to my usual ones out of like just for that comfort. But this is I have used this one with gouache before. It's a 3/4 brush, and it's, you know, pretty wide for this size paper, so it works really well for like laying in your bigger colors first. Oh wait, no, go lay down. Whoa. He got the snaps. Then he knows he's in trouble when the snaps come out. So anyways, hope you guys have some tea or coffee and you're ready to paint. Chill. Oh my gosh. Chill. Yes, we see you. You know, you can help, you know.
But it's so funny.
He cracks you up, but he's like, he's so loud I can barely hear myself talking over him. He has like multiple syllable words sometimes. Like, I think the most I've counted is 8. It's like, what? Okay. So this is a painting I finished on my Twitch. Yeah, it was my Twitch stream last week. And we've done, I think I also did I think I did this one on my Twitch stream as well, but this is the one I did last week here on YouTube. So if you missed it, you can go back and watch the live stream replay of that and, you know, see how I did it. And then yesterday I posted my episode 2 of the Learn Gouache Landscape series on Skillshare, which was this theme, the autumn forests. So that's also available for you guys. I think the link should be in my description. Yeah. And episode 3, which will be in a couple weeks, I'm going to be doing waterfalls. This is the photo I showed in the trailer for it, but we're not going to do this exact scene. We're going to do a scene from this location, though. And I'm really excited because I love painting waterfalls. All right. Time to get our color palette. So this is my autumn color palette that I've been using. Sometimes I also add burnt sienna, or what was the other color? Or no, actually, this is a different one. I wanted to use the lemon yellow. This one. So where is this one? There you go. This is my autumn color palette. Reflections look amazing. Well, yeah, that's going to be one thing I work on today. Even though the reflection isn't like the focus of the scene I want to paint today, it's still important. So I think I may do like a wet into wet kind of thing for the reflection and then dry brush on top of it. We'll see. We'll get into it, but it'll be especially important to, I'm talking about the photo that's below me right now. It'll be important to capture the difference in the colors and the values of those distant mountains versus the ones closer to us. The distant ones are almost like a light cobalt or purpley color. So I could use this range of colors, but lighten it up with white, obviously. Alizarin. I did a ton of plein air painting Friday, which is why I moved the stream. Yeah, speaking of which, you guys probably noticed it's not Friday. And I am sorry if anyone was like super looking forward to it on Friday, but it was just the perfect autumn day for painting outside. So I just had to take advantage of it. because you never know when you're about to get hit with like a week of rain here. And both yesterday and today were pretty... we had like a tiny bit of sun yesterday, but it was not as painter friendly. Alright, I'm looking for... There it is. Yeah, the lemon yellow. Hey Dawn. Hey La Mary. Hey Wilderbiz. Oh, it's Marina. Hi Marina. Sorry, I didn't recognize your username. Have you come in here with that username before? Doing well, Lamiri. How are you doing? Well, I'm getting distracted. So green, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's all the colors I need. Oh. Yeah, that should be it. Wait. Come on, up. You don't have Twitter blue color for blue scheme. You have ultramarine acid blue, Prussian blue. What should I get? What should I mix to get Twitter blue? Like the Twitter logo? Is that what you mean? I've never heard this color name, but it makes sense if that's what you mean. Hey, digital. Keep meaning to change it. Oh, okay. Sorry, you have a question about Skillshare. If you sign up, can I follow all your classes? I mean, yeah. So on Skillshare, it's just a monthly membership. You can get 2 weeks for free if you use my link. But then if you sign up for the premium, it's like a monthly fee. But during the month, you can watch any class that's on Skillshare. There's like thousands of classes. So depending on how much time you have, you can really take advantage of it in a short amount of time. I think when I first signed up, I binge watched like every gouache and watercolor video they had. You do have to wade through quite a bit to get stuff that works for you, because there's just so many different teachers and so many different subjects. Or like within watercolor alone, there's so many classes, so it just depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, you have to take advantage of the sun, especially this time of year, because it's getting dark. It's 2:15 and it's nearly dark. Like the sun sets so early. Sounds like a Siamese cat you used to know. Really? Aw. You hear his Scottish accent, his Scottish meow. His prominent Scottish accent. He's not mad. He's annoyed that I didn't give him wet food. Because that's his thing. Like, he comes inside at the end of the day, usually, and he gets his wet food. And it's too early for that. But it's weird because right now it's getting dark so early that he's coming in earlier and earlier. But it's not time for dinner now, so... He's like, wait a minute. What's this? What's this new routine? Okay, so I'm going to make sure that's a little bit wet. So this is just a piece of, I think it's actually made for acrylic, but it's palette paper. And you could also use a wet paper towel. Or there's probably a variety of things, but I like using the palette paper because it doesn't soak up the paint as much and it still stays moist for a little bit longer and sort of helps the gouache last a little bit longer before it dries out. So I usually do 2 piles of white because I use a lot of white. White's the most used color. Ever thought about doing a tutorial on how to take good reference photos? oh man, back in the day, I did some video editing streams on Twitch, and some people were interested, but I kind of, like, I never really focused on that for, like, when I make content. Maybe I just take it for granted. But I mean, yeah, that I have made a video where I think I was painting in the forest, and it was I talk about taking reference photos, and in that video I show like a little bit of what I'm thinking when I'm taking those photos. So not sure which video it is. If anyone else remembers, please tell us the name of it. I think I called it location scouting in the forest, maybe? It was recent. It was like at the end of the summer, I think. Hey, Nora. All right. Just taking my sweet time getting my colors out. I could not believe how busy last week's YouTube chat was. It shocked me. Usually my YouTube streams are really chill and the chat is rather slow, but like last week I could barely keep up. And that somehow that replay, that video, the live stream replay already has thousands of views. So I was like, huh. Something happened that day. Like the algorithm was like, hey, watch this video. Not sure why, but I'm already chickening out. I'm like going back to my old brushes. I'm gonna have them next to me just in case. Let's just say that. So a couple flats, a couple rounds, a script brush, and that should be good. But I'll try to use the bigger brush for as long as I can, because that definitely helps just kind of keep the focus on the majority of the scene versus getting bogged down in all the little details first. Your palette setup works well for you. Oh, is this kind of similar to what you do? You paint often in the cold. How cold does it get? Does it affect the gouache at all? Dry faster, slower? Any change in? So I don't actually paint that often in the cold. I have shared quite a few videos of me painting in the colder weather, but yeah, like I don't know, maybe this last year I just haven't done it as much in the cold. And we had such wonderful summer, so I forgot what it was like. But I have been out in the snow and the gouache practically freezes, like it doesn't move around very much. But I've heard some people use vodka when that happens, so you just paint with vodka, maybe a little water mixed in versus just pure water, and it keeps it from freezing. Or maybe any kind of clear alcohol. If you type !ref, this should pop up, the reference photo, if anyone wants to paint along with me. Oh, thank you, Lamary. And also, depending on the climate, if it's really dry where you are, it definitely dries fast outside. In general, I find that my paints dry, my whole... I have to paint faster because things dry quicker. There have been a few times when that's not the case. Like one time we were painting at a waterfall and it was so humid down by where the waterfall came into the, like poured into the pool of water, and it was misting everywhere, and I was painting with gouache and my paint was just not drying, and there was mist speckles getting on my sketchbook constantly and just messing up what I was doing. So I did my best, but it was really tricky. And I ended up with like a weird speckled pattern on the final painting. Okay, so my iPad fell asleep. Okay. Where is my pencil? Hi, Woosie. Hi, Lady T, also. Hey, Dean. Okay. So I'm just going to block in my composition. I think I'll have the shore like maybe around here, just under the halfway line. Yeah, you did it wrong. You have to do exclamation point ref. One word. No space. Commands, the bot reacts to commands by the exclamation point, and then whatever letters follow that brings up a different command. So if you have a space in there anywhere, it's not going to work. There's like some really cool undulating hills on this, the one that's a little bit closer to us. Weird. This is one of the songs I've used in a video, and it always freaks me out when I hear them. Oh my god. All the reference photos. There's like 10 links now. I think the problem is like it's a little delayed, so if multiple people do it, it'll just pop up. And I'm not going to draw the boats in, because if I do the boats, which I probably will do at least a couple, it'll be covered, like it won't be worth drawing them and then painting over them, so it'll just happen later. All right, so color-wise, this is annoying me though. I may shift the color slightly from the reference, but for now, I'm just gonna lay in some of my main tones. A little bit of a blue sky, and the water will have a little blue, but usually the reflection is a tiny bit darker, or sometimes really dark compared to what it's reflecting, so I usually go a little bit more bold in my water. It kind of depends on the scene, so take that with a grain of salt. I was thinking I would do like a wet into wet kind of thing, but now I think I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I do the dark part of the reflection, because I think with this brush I can get an interesting kind of rough texture if it's a little bit more dry. So it'll be tricky. If I can do it properly, it'll work well. Like, I've done it in other paintings before, but it's like you have to make sure it's the perfect dryness, and that's really tricky once you get paint on there. So it may be a disaster, who knows. But I am gonna, for the distant mountains, I'm gonna switch to my smaller brush and mix up some purplish tones. And we'll see how that dries. Yeah, I could test it out on a piece of scrap paper. So if everything goes to plan, we'll be in Skye in a couple weeks. So I'm like I've been painting a lot of Skye reference photos. Been painting a lot of scenes from past trips. Get so inspired. But then the tricky part about traveling is like I never know if I'm actually gonna have time to paint. I always try to make time, but you know, it just depends on on the day, on the weather, on how much we're trying to do, like how much we're trying to squeeze in. Because we love hiking and just driving around, seeing all the cool places we miss. Okay, I'll zoom in a little. So I hope I get to paint, and if I do, maybe I can record a little and make a little YouTube video. Oh, by the way, I did schedule the next paint along. It's going to be November 28th, so right after American Thanksgiving. I cannot believe it's almost, or that it's like a week into November already. That's just crazy. Alright, I might come back and do more darkness on this distant hill, but I'm gonna leave it for now. I'm gonna move on to this part of the hill because I want to let that completely dry, because the values do shift slightly when they dry, and then I'll know if I need to darken anything. But I think I need to add just a hint of shadow on some areas of that mountain. But I really want to keep it kind of pastel. Where are you from, guys? Yeah, we have people from all over the place. According to my YouTube statistics, like more than half of my viewers, my regular viewers, are from the US, but in my personal experience, like from the people I talk to in chat, it seems like a lot of people are from Europe, the ones who chat. But that also might be because of the time zone I stream in. It's pretty early in the US right now, so... Canada, Netherlands, North Carolina, Germany, Croatia. Wow, see? Isn't that so cool? That we're all just like chilling in our pajamas. Well, I'm not in my pajamas, but I hope at least some of you are. Also, I have to apologize ahead of time for Wolfie. If you hear screaming in the background, he's playing a game that makes him rage. What's that game called?
This one, Need for Speed Outrun.
What?
Need for Speed Outrun.
Need for Speed Outrun? Not in your pajamas, creep face. What do you have the paint sitting on? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just a tray, a removable tray from my watercolor palette. So this is my watercolor palette covered in stickers. And it comes with quite a lot of mixing space, but this tray is actually goes here. So it's actually double this amount of space, which is awesome. But yeah, I just find that it works perfectly for my gouache sessions where I'm doing a limited palette like this. I do have some bigger mixing trays that I sometimes use, just depends on what size painting I'm doing. Indonesia, hello! One of my closest friends in Denver was from Indonesia, from Jakarta. And if you're new here, by the way, obviously my name is Sarah, but I am in Scotland, but I'm originally from the US and spent before I moved here, I was in Denver for 10 years, so. I often talk about Denver, or Colorado in general. And a lot of my old videos are Colorado videos. Oh, the strip of paper. That is a piece of palette paper. It's like usually for acrylic, I think, but I just, I get it a little bit wet and then I put my gouache on it. You can see the paint does soak in a tiny bit, but much less than if it was like a wet paper towel. But it keeps the gouache from drying out a little bit longer. I think instead of adding highlights to that, I'm going to add shadows with the color I did earlier. It almost, this current scene, the current color palette that I'm playing with almost has like a Maxfield Parrish vibe to it. And it's kind of fun to play with such a dramatic stylization. Okay, we'll just move on. I want to get the rest of the white paper filled in so it's not as distracting. And then we'll work on building up the details and stuff. Hey, cars. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, man. Yep. I thought I would be hungover today because we were celebrating last night with champagne. All right, now I need to mix the middle area, which is a lot darker and a lot more intense contrast. So I think I'll start with that kind of deep yellow ochre color, so it has like a warm vibe to it, and then come back in with all my cooler shadows. Because I want the general feel to be warmer in this painting. I'll switch to my 1/2 inch brush. Oh, wait. That's what's different. Usually I think I have yellow ochre on my palette. Do I? No, I can't remember. Oh, I've been using my watercolor box with all of my colors when I go out painting, and now I'm like, wait, what do I usually keep on my limited palette? Either way, it's fine. If I add a little of the yellow to the burnt sienna, I basically get yellow ochre, except it's a lot warmer, or oranger, so I have to neutralize it a little bit. So I'll add a little of the green. And that'll be a good start. Yeah, nice and warm. Sometimes I fill in the whole first layer really quickly just to get that white, get rid of that white, because it can be so distracting and really difficult to think about your colors and your values when you have that white on the paper still, white on the page. All right, this is actually going to be a lot of forest on the left side. And then there's some, like, the shoreline is quite dark. A lot of the coastal areas at this location are super rocky, and they're just like really dark rocks, but sometimes they have bright colored seaweed and stuff growing on them, so kind of varies, but it's mostly dark. Zoom a little? Okay. It's hard to make sure. I don't want to, oops. Don't want my thing to tip over. It's on the verge of like tipping over. Yeah, we'll get it. Hold on, guys. There we go. I'm like afraid it's gonna fall. Okay. Maybe a little bit more blue. Definitely want that really nice dry brush effect. Because I'm not gonna obsessively copy every single hill, but I want to give the hint that there's like all these rolling hillsides. And over here, we're gonna have lots of trees, so it'll be mostly covered up, so it doesn't really matter. And a nice deep brown for the shoreline. I still haven't done the reflection, so I'm kind of just saving that till I finish filling in this landmass. Hey, Holly. Anyone here from Morocco? Good question. You might be representing. All right, time for the attempt at the reflection. I figured that, Lomiri. I figured that based on your question. So I'm gonna go with like a deeper, cooler reflection. And then maybe come back in with some vertical, warmer elements. So this is where it's like I was talking about, it's a little tricky to do what I want to do. I want to make sure I get like a rough texture on the surface of the water. So I can barely use any water at this point if I want to keep that, like with all the ripples on the surface of the water, I mean. And I can't brush over it too much, because if I do that, then I'll just take away the gouache I already put down. Hey, Ira, or Ira. Once I add the darker trees and stuff to the hillside, I hope these reflections will make more sense. I know, isn't that awesome, Lucy? I really wish I could travel to every country. I know that won't be possible for a long time, so it's cool that we can all connect. Find like-minded people who enjoy art. Speaking of, is anyone else painting? Is anyone else working on anything? Just as a reminder, if you are an artist, or actually anyone really, you can join our Discord chat, but we do have an art chat in there that you can like share projects you're working on, or in progress and finished pieces. All right, I'll let that dry because I'm starting to actually remove the gouache I already put down, and we don't want that. I know, Rahali, you're always working on something. How often do you order gouache? Do you go through a lot? Yeah, I order Well, I recently got, there was a sale at the art shop I order stuff from, so I purchased a whole set of gouache, and I have it upstairs as my like backup set. So if I run out of anything, it's there for me. But for like 3 years, I was using the same tubes and maybe only ordering a new tube a couple times a year. So I wasn't going through that much, but I wasn't doing gouache as much either. So for the last year or so, I've been using it way more, and I've been recently making bigger gouache pieces, and I've already noticed like my tubes are getting quite lean very quickly. But that's what I love about getting, like, take advantage of a sale if you can and just buy your favorite colors and just have them on the shelf. Because, like, the worst thing is if you are scared to use paint because you don't want to run out. Like, that's not helpful for you as an artist. And if you can get a sale, it's like, I actually got some of my tubes for like £4, which is so cheap compared to like my oil paint and some of my watercolors. It was so cheap. And I'm not worried. Like, I'm not thinking, oh, I have to save my paint. Like, I shouldn't wait. I can't waste any. And like, that kind of stops you from trying things and experimenting and growing as fast. But the Holbein gouache that I started off with lasted me forever because it's so highly, intensely pigmented. Like, you just need the teeny tiniest little drop of it. And because of my style or my workflow, I work from thin to thick usually. Like, half the painting is watered down and it just barely uses any gouache. All right, let's get some of these trees and bushes. They're a lovely way to wake up in the morning. Excellent. Hope it inspires you to pick up the brush. Hey, Katarina. Your project is a Rolls-Royce supercharger. Jeez. I can't even... Holly, you have the craziest projects. It's amazing. Such a different life. Hey, Nukba. Today technically isn't a paint-along. We are just chilling, hanging out, painting, and you're more than welcome to use my reference photo and paint with me. But it is different than my normal paint-along because I'm not giving like full instruction. But you guys are more than welcome to ask questions, and you know, I enjoy talking about the process. Like right now, I'm just kind of dotting in some of the mid-tones of my trees, the clusters of trees. And then I'll come back in with my deeper shadows and some more variety in the... Like, I haven't done any of the trees over here, and I need to do the shoreline still. You love gouache, but your friend says to use watercolor because it's more known and official technique. Huh. I don't really know what you mean by that, but okay. Oh, was able to lay down the main colors, but it's harder for you to lay down the details quickly. Yeah, what Wusi said, it's all about knowing your brushes and the kind of marks they can make, the details, I mean, for sure. Especially in a small piece like this, like I can only do so much detail, so I kind of get creative with my mark making sometimes, and it's about the slow build up. I'd say be patient. Laying in the first colors is easy. That's like the fast part. And then you let it dry and you kind of see your values and your colors, and then you react to what you already did. So now I'm in the stage where like all the white is gone and I can see the colors and the values for what they are. And it's all about little adjustments from here on out. So having a good strategy in mind is helpful. Like if you know, like for instance, I usually start with my midtones because then it's easier to see what needs highlights and what needs shadows. But other times I already know where I want the strong shadows to be. So I'll like put the strong shadows in right away and then I build up to my highlights from there. So, you know, you can maybe try 2 different sketches of the same scene and try both of those approaches and see what works better for you. Because I think all of our minds work differently, and if you're looking at the reference photo and the first thing you see is the highlights, that's what you're attracted to the most. But some people might be attracted to the shadows, or some people might be attracted to that one particular color. And when you sit down to paint it, you kind of have to work with how your mind works. So how do you know which colors to use for the shadows? There's no right answer. If you're going for hyper-realism, you will try your darndest to match the photo exactly. But I'm never going for photorealism. I usually try to capture like the feeling of the scene. So when I took this reference photo, we were sitting on the back porch of the house we were staying in, and the sun was setting, and it was just like the most peaceful, relaxing thing, and the warm sun was coming through the trees, and I just want to capture that tranquility. So the warmth is important, and the stillness, or there's like nothing too moody about it. So for me, like my color choices are based on that. So I'll keep things a little bit on the warmer side. But that's different maybe than someone else who wants to capture the scene in a more moody way. Or if you are going for hyperrealism, you are literally just mixing until you match the photo exactly. Or if you're out in person. In terms of what I'm going to be doing in my scene to emphasize the warmth, I'm going to try to have the majority of my colors be warmer, and then here and there I'll do deeper blue shadows which will complement the warmth, because orange and blue, complementary colors, it'll make the warmer stuff feel warmer. When I say warmer, obviously I mean like on the color spectrum, right? Like it's not physically warm. It's like has a little more yellow in it and a little more reddish, orangish tones. Does that make sense? That was like a long-winded answer about shadows. You bought new gouache and it had cheap gouache that became granulated when you activated it with water. It was hard times. Ooh, that does not sound fun. Doesn't sound fun. Yeah, the quality definitely plays a role. I mean, if you're just practicing and you're painting straight out of the tube, the cheaper stuff can get the job done. But I'm really concerned with light fast quality as well as performance, both watered down as well as straight out of the tube. I really don't ever use it dry because I just don't. It can get chunky and weird. But I've been using Winsor Newton for a while now, and I absolutely love it. It's a little bit more liquidy than what my Holbein stuff was, and I love it for that reason. It works better for me. Also, hey, Slave of Hell, how was your walk? How was your adventure outside? Yeah, I varnish my gouache paintings if they are not going to be framed under glass. And if this is a more recent thing that for me in the last few months, I use this. I have a whole video about it if you want to go check it out, showing the process. And it's like I've been painting with gouache on wooden panels lately, which I love now. It's like my favorite way to use gouache. And they have to be varnished because they're going to get framed in floater frames and they're not going to be covered with glass. So I'm super paranoid about them getting splashed. Here's a good example of details. So right now I'm dropping in clusters of trees and you can see I'm not spending a long time on each tree. It's more just like quick little chunky shapes or vertical sweeps of color that represent the up and down, like the clusters of the trees. And then when I come back in with a cooler shadow, like for instance, maybe something like this, I'll just focus on like the left side of some of these trees. That's hard to see. You'll see when it dries. Or actually I can show you up close. So like that. If I repeat that a lot in the trees, it'll kind of indicate that the light is coming from the right side. And then I'll also have some longer shadows. Mostly using a cooler color like my Prussian blue and my Pyrrolene green mixed together. Like that. I know it's hard to see the value until it dries because it is slightly reflective when it's wet. But hopefully you'll see it soon. Aw, Xenium, that's exciting. You did a walk, run, mix, came home dead, exhausted, took a nap. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds wonderful though. What a great Sunday. It was super gloomy here today. We didn't even go for a walk, which is rare for us. Like, we always try to go on the weekends. We did yesterday, but pizza. So my style is more, I say stylized, but that's such a bad word, like a bad way to describe something, because of course it's stylized. Everything is stylized. But I like using, I like there to be evidence of the brush in my final painting. So like, maybe parts of the painting are very abstract and parts are a little bit more detailed, and there's like dry brush texture showing through and maybe big chunky placement of color here and there. So I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. And if you're trying to go for something like really, really realistic, you can still use these ideas, but then you have to go much further with your detail. Brush evidence and Vader evidence, yeah. Luckily, I don't have too much cat hair going on now, which is surprising because when he came in, I was petting him right here. Usually it just like gets everywhere. Also, hi, Saju. Hey, Lupe. Good morning or, afternoon. Don't know where you're from, but welcome. Victro, you're doing gouache as well? Excellent. Gouache buddies. See, now that I have a lot more color and darkness in this area, the background hills, which I thought were going to be too dark, are much better. Like, they look actually pretty close. I'll keep going and see if it stays that way. But I'm liking how it looks so far. Need to lighten up parts of the shore because I kind of covered it up with the water. Even though it's like a deep brown tone there's still some highlights on the shore. Like a warm brown highlight. I haven't tried that, Katarina. I just saw that my art shop sells that, and I was like, ooh. I love Schminke watercolor. Most of my watercolor is Schminke, and Schminke. Someone correct me if I'm saying that wrong. And it's really amazing quality. Been so happy with it. So I imagine the gouache, but I don't know. I haven't tried it. I haven't looked into it enough to really know how good it is. You have a problem with reference photos. You feel you want to capture all the details, and I can't focus on one area. I also cannot break the complicated reference photos. That is a skill to be learned. It's okay. That's how I was when I first started too. I mean, I don't know how long you've been painting or drawing, but picking apart a reference photo is a skill in itself. You have to practice that. So I remember what really helped me was doing value studies before I jumped into a painting. I still try to do that quite often because it just helps you grow that skill. But if you can at least take away the complication of color, it helps you see the lighting, especially, and the values are the most important part in your painting anyway. So if you can maybe do that more often, incorporate that into your practice, I think that'll really help. And then I guess in terms of like how to see past all the detail, at some point something has got to give. Like, you can only do so much detail, especially in a small space like this, which is, I don't know what, like 4 by 6 inches, maybe a little bit bigger than 4 by 6 inches, maybe 4 by 7 inches or something. I mean, that's not very much space to play with. So you have to make those artistic choices. You have to figure out how you're gonna distill all the information of the mountain into a few brushstrokes. And it's completely up to you. That's the great part. Like, you're the inventor of your world on the paper. And do it a lot. Experiment a lot with different types of mark making. Like, take your subject and isolate it. Try a few studies of specific subjects instead of painting, a whole huge complicated landscape. So if you can kind of like, break it down into pieces, it becomes a little bit easier, and you do grow those skills over time. I'm still working on it for sure. Lately, I've been trying to focus on the lighting more, because usually that's what draws me into painting anyway. There's like some kind of interesting thing with the lighting happening. Here's a good example. Oh my God. So Friday, I was painting outside. I think I posted this on Instagram. And I was so insanely intimidated because I was looking at this big park, huge, like just massive twisty trees. And there were like 6 of them overlapping, and I was like, oh my god, if I try to paint this one view, there's supposed to be like 5 of these in this one view. I was gonna go nuts. So I had to make the artistic choice to only focus on one tree, and I did do some stuff in the background, but just to like even start, I had to minimize a ton of detail. So I only had like 30 minutes before the sun went down, so I was super stressing out about it too. And it was a good lesson. It was a huge lesson learned. But I mean, look how crazy it is. It's obviously a tree, but if you really look up close at a lot of the areas, it's like, it's like an abstract painting, you know? And you know, I love abstract paintings. I was going into it to study the lighting. At least I came out with something that looks sort of like a tree. But that's part of the lesson, is like, how do you distill all of this insane amount of information that's in front of you to fulfill your purpose as the artist? Like, are you going into it to capture like a direct likeness of your subject? If so, you're going to be standing there for a while. You're going to be painting for a while. Or is it about capturing like one specific thing with the lighting? Like, for instance, for me, the sun was about to set, so it has like this strong warm light almost horizontally pouring into the forest. And there were really strong shadows too. So it was like, how do I figure out what colors the light is and what colors the shadows are? And it was just like trial and error, basically. And it's like, you know, you're focusing on the color, but you also still have to paint it to look like a tree. So there's a lot going on, and that is like slowly, by repeating the process day after day after day, you kind of learn how to do that. And I am still learning how to do that, and I'm very humbled by most of my plein air painting experiences. But it's like a sport to me. Like, I just can't get enough of it. I love it. I love the challenge, and yeah, it sucks when you're really frustrated and it doesn't go your way, but then the next day you wake up and you're like, okay, I learned something. Like, it sucked, but I learned something. Your lecturer told you should leave the brush mark out of watercolor? Is that what you're saying? Or did I read that wrong? Also, yeah, that's like, depending on who you're learning from, teachers or artists have very strong opinions. It's really, they could be very biased towards one particular thing. So, you know, I always say, just like, take it with a grain of salt. I like to hear the perspective of a ton of different artists and not take it as gospel or as, like, you know, it's not set in stone that you have to do it that one particular way. If you love an artist's style and you are listening to them explain how they do things, of course you're probably going to try to do it the same way they're doing it, just so you can learn how they got to that point. But then eventually I think it's better to just like get a wider perspective. So learn from lots of different instructors or lots of different artists, and pick the pieces that you love of everything, and then just keep practicing, and eventually your own style is going to come out, and your own, yeah, I mean, it's because style just happens. I guess you can try to go for a certain style, but I just find that it reveals itself over time. Oh, sorry, I'm zoomed out again. I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to see the color palette, the mixing tray, and the painting, or do you rather just me zoom in like that? Oh, I'm glad it's helpful, Xenium. And also, thank you guys. I'm glad you like the painting. I mean, I don't hate that painting. It's just, it was more about, like, it feels fresh to me, like how frustrated I was when I painted it. It's like, and the lighting, oh my god. I set up my stuff at like 3 p.m. and within like 5 or 10 minutes, the clouds came and covered the sun and everything changed. And I was like, well, and I was like barely started the painting and I was like, I guess I'm done here. And someone came and talked to me and I was just like, and then this lady was talking to me and the sun came back and I was like, oh my god, get out of here, lady. Like, I need to paint. I felt so bad. I didn't say that, obviously. I was just like, kind of like turning back towards my painting and just like doing stuff so she would take a hint. But luckily the sun came out. It stayed out until it set, obviously. And then I could actually finish it. I wish I had like 20 more minutes though, because it was amazing lighting and I wasn't nearly as close, or I wasn't nearly as far as I wanted to be when the sun finally went down. You like to see the colors because you're terrible at mixing. They always come out garish and childish. So the color, you like when I zoom in. You like both. How about I do this? I go back and forth every once in a while. Well, or actually I can zoom a little bit more. I usually explain my colors more when I'm doing like the actual paint-alongs. Zoom in to see the details. Zoom in when doing details. Okay. Well, right now, I guess for colors, I'm just using my Pyroline green with a tiny bit of the Prussian blue. So it's like a bluish green. And also dragging in a hint of that burnt sienna. Because it almost becomes like a cooler olivey green. This is the mid-tone for the cluster of trees on the left, and then I'll add a warmer green to the highlight side of them, and then maybe a little dark blue shadow on the left side. Hey, Douglas. Well, I'm glad my rambling helps, guys. So this is just the mid-tone, I guess. Yeah, and then once I add the highlights, it'll really pop. It always helps, okay. I've been trying to be more brave, and when I go out and paint, I'm trying not to let the thought of someone seeing me or talking to me stop me from picking a spot, because I get really anxious when a stranger walks by and then they want to talk, and especially when I'm like, a few minutes into the painting and it looks like hell, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm totally an artist. And they're like, oh, nice job. Like, that's hard to get over. But trying to just like remind myself, no, like they are not the ones I'm painting for. Like, this is my own journey. I'm using this time to get better. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks. So I've been able to get out a little bit more lately and paint my neighborhood, which I was so scared to do before. And I actually met a couple really nice locals. So, pizza! Oh, I'm jealous. I wish the paint-alongs would never end. My throat gets so sore by the end of a paint-along because I just talk nonstop. I always laughed because I've been streaming for over 4 years. And the whole 4 years, at the end of my stream, my throat hurts. Like I always joked that I was not born to talk much, because I just, for most of my life, I just didn't talk that much. Most of the times in a group or in a crowd, I'm like the quiet one, because I like to observe and listen. But, you know, for streaming, I just let my mind ramble. Slave of Hell says, Wolfie! He says hi. Vandalism? You're painting your neighborhood? No, we actually don't have a lot of vandalism in our tiny little country town, but there is some. I have seen a couple fences. A couple fences are tagged. I'm gonna work a little bit more on the water. So also in the reference photo, there are some trees that are overhanging the scene, but I'm not gonna add those in because I don't want them. Simple as that. I'm gonna work on the foreground though, the water. I want to add a little bit of a vignette, so just making the edges of the painting slightly darker. Just breaking up that big open space a little bit more. I'm using practically no pigment, no water, whatever's left on my brush. Spraying everything in autumn colors. Yes! Autumn will last forever! How long a good quality brush you can use before it's completely unusable? Oh man. I have been using the same brushes for years. I guess it depends how you use them. I have ruined a few with acrylic and oil over the years, but for the most part, my brushes last forever. Aw, Slave of Hell sounds amazing. I have a great radio voice. Comes together so subtly. That's the thing. It is like that. It is a lot of subtle changes, and then suddenly it's like, oh, there's the landscape. And it's so, to me, it's always so fascinating how it's usually one particular thing that really makes the landscape come to life. Right, I'm gonna get some, like a light warmer, like sage. It's not sage. It's like a warmer version of the green I already put down, and do some of the highlights. So we'll zoom back in. You watch these vids, but I'm scared to actually try using your gouache paints. Have yet to really do a proper study. Feel like I'm gonna mess up and waste the paint and paper. I fear the outcome. Man, I know what it's like. Honestly, like, fear can stop you from doing so many things. But just try to remember that it's just painting. It's just art. It's never gonna be just one. You never can just do one painting and like it's the best painting you've ever done. It's the only one you've ever done. Like you're done as an artist. Like, it's an ongoing journey. From now until the day you die, you are gonna paint thousands of paintings. And along the way, you'll have some really awesome paintings and you'll have some really horrible paintings. But if you love the journey, if you love mixing the paint and seeing the colors flow and, you know, the constant chase of the good painting, then it doesn't matter, you know? And the only wasted paint is the paint that stays in the tube. think of it this way too. You will buy hundreds of tubes of paint over your life. It's not going to be... The one set of paint you have right now might be the first set, and it might feel very precious, and it might feel like you have to do your best work with this paint, but it's not even going to be close. Like, you're going to start with this set of paint, and then you're going to paint lots of things, and then you're going to buy more paint, and then you'll buy more and more and more. And it's an ongoing adventure. So get some reference photos that inspire the crap out of you and just paint them. Buy a bunch of little sketchbooks like this, like these little A5 sketchbooks, because I find that this is a really great size for doing studies. I have done like 6 of these sketchbooks by now, and it's just awesome for studies. And yeah, it just, you gotta stay inspired though, you know? So for me, like, it all comes from that spark of inspiration. Like, what am I painting? Why am I painting in the first place? Usually it's because that particular landscape was amazing. It was amazing to be in, and I have this reference photo as a memory, but I really want to put my own like spin on it. So I'm compelled to paint it. And yeah, I don't know. Everyone has their own reasons for creating. Your tubes got bad. Oh, they hardened. Yeah, that's a bummer. I had a few of my Holbein tubes harden that I just had to replace. Don't know how to start. How many MS? Oh, this is... Oh gosh, what is this? I think this is 300 or 270. It's pretty thick. This is the Sea White of Brighton sketchbook. In terms of like knowing where to start, so if you're brand new to painting landscapes in general, I suggest painting individual things from a landscape, like a tree. Paint a single tree, paint a single leaf, paint a single flower. That's how I started, and it's much less intimidating than painting a whole landscape together. Like, if you go back and you look at my videos of my sketchbook tours, especially with it's all watercolor, I guess, watercolor and gouache, you can see the progression of like the first ones where I paint like single things, and then I slowly attempt putting those things together into a landscape. And the first several times I did that, it was like I had no clue how to layer paint to get it to look like a landscape. I just did it anyway. So you'll definitely have lots of ups and downs along the way, but to me, like, being outside and painting was my biggest joy when I first started. That's why I kept going and going. It's just so fun and so relaxing and exciting to like figure out the colors and the textures, and that's still what drives me. So if you love being out in nature, then just take your sketchbooks every time you go and just try a little sketch here and there. Maybe that'll help motivate you. I feel like I'm a pep talk channel now. But it's because I know, like, it's only been 5 years since I started painting, so that still kind of feels like fresh to me, like that feeling of fear, not knowing where to start, not knowing how to do the things I want to paint, and like, so if I think back on those feelings, I remember the only way I got through it was to just do it. The largest gouache painting I've done is the 11 by 14, I believe. and then I erased it, or like I painted it and I was like, oh wow, okay, and then I started like adding little details and doing, and I pretty much finished it, and then I hated it, so I just like swipe. It was on a big board, because I said lately I've been painting a lot on the boards, and yeah, I want to save. Like I'm fine with painting on paper, and if I mess up, I mess up. I just like put it in my storage. But if it's a board, those are more expensive, and I'm like, no, I don't like this painting. We're gonna start over. So just wash it off. Take the plunge. Yeah, maybe also start with a lot of sketching. Do like just pencil and paper. Keep it simple. Practice drawing the landscape before you start painting a lot, and like familiarize yourself with the shapes and the values that you find a lot in nature. I think that's pretty empowering. April Fool's video of me painting and scraping art. You know, I've done that on my Twitch streams and people get so upset. That would be the... Oh my god, Woosie. Okay, you guys can blame Woosie for this. Be prepared for April Fools. I'm gonna paint. I'll like sit down, whatever I paint that day, even if I love it, I am gonna paint it and scrape it. Even if it's the best painting I've ever done in my life. And then I'll probably spend the rest of my life trying to recreate it, and I'll die in a alleyway and totally insane, painting the same thing over and over on the walls. What if someone buys the painting? What do you mean? You love that it upsets everyone else so much. You are such a rascal. I mean, that's what I'm saying. No one will have a chance to buy it. I'll paint it, and I'll record the whole process. So I'm painting it. You guys are going to be watching the video on YouTube. So I'll be painting it. I'll get to the end, no matter what whatever the outcome is. At the end of the painting, I'll show like the final view of it, and then it'll be, the next clip will be of me going and like scraping it off, or sweeping if it's gouache, I'll just take a big wet rag and I'll go across the whole thing. So the only way you'd be able to buy it is if you like barged in at that exact moment and stole it from me. Wait, is it seriously 3:30? So I only have half an hour left? My gosh. Guys, been rambling on, and I've like lost track of my painting progress. Unless the painting is sold by the time you finish it, it will be wiped away. Oh my gosh, how evil. We'll do that on our like next anniversary stream. Or if I'm like fundraising for something big, we'll have a painting session where I'm like, okay, no matter what happens, unless this sells before I finish it, it's scraped live in front of your eyes. Are you gonna camp out at the... I'm okay with that. If you're camping out, yeah, come on over. That'll be my trick to get you here, right? Alright. I haven't even done any of the boats. And the water still isn't quite to my liking. Oh, it's just evil. No, I don't want to torture my viewers. So, let's see. Today is, oh my gosh, it's Sunday. I keep thinking it's Saturday. Man, my week has been completely, I have no sense of what day it is. But that means I will be streaming tomorrow over on Twitch if you'd like to hang out. Usually go for like 4 or 5 hours on Twitch. And I think next Friday is still good for streaming, so we'll do that next Friday here on YouTube. And then the paint along, again, I scheduled the paint along. It's going to be November 28th. So that, oh, by the way, for the paint along, we're going to be doing watercolor snowscapes. And the reason I chose that is because I recently was working on this commission of train tracks in the snow, and it was the first time I had done snow in a while, and it was really like my brain hurt. I was like, how do I do this? So I did a lot of studies, and this still isn't completely finished yet, but it got me thinking, like, I think I found a good strategy for doing this kind of thing that I want to share with you guys. So if you're interested, save the date. The paint along will be here on YouTube. Oh my gosh, Woosie. I would be I think I would also be upset if I was watching, especially if the painting was gorgeous. Are you gonna announce the new topic Owl Fox for November? So far, digital, I think we were just gonna have people continue on with Huevember. Actually, I have to talk to May about that. I thought we decided on letting people do Huevember, but I might be wrong. So stay tuned. If, like, a lot of people were doing their Inktober, then they were doing Sketchtember, then Inktober, then Huevember with a single project. So it was like carrying over month to month. So yeah, I'm gonna check with May. Thank you for reminding me. I think I might come back onto this and do a little disturbance on the water going like horizontally. Yeah, that's why I'm confused now, digital. I can't remember what we officially decided. The months are just like blurring into each other. But I like the idea of doing a prompt for November. I think that could be fun. Crap. A lot of my gouache is like dried. The white just dries really fast. Oh, really, Lucy? Okay, maybe we were supposed to pick one for November. All right, am I gonna do a boat? I need to do a boat if I'm gonna do a boat. Tiniest boat ever. Yeah, that would be fun, Lucy. For the next gouache study session and 11/28 for the paint along. Yeah, is that this Friday? Friday the 13th will be our next YouTube stream. And then, yeah, the 28th for the paint along. So, since Friday the 27th, so yeah. Actually, no, we have 2 weeks. Friday the 13th and Friday the 20th will be YouTube streams, just doing like studies. And then Saturday the 28th will be the paint along. Okay? Are you talking about Hughvember, Dawn? So if you are talking about Hughvember, it's a challenge during November, just like the other monthly challenges. But the focus is color, and the original Huevember challenge was to pick a single color to focus on for that day, and it was a daily challenge. So throughout the month you go through like the whole color spectrum. And I did modified versions of it for a few years. Actually, if you want to see, I just did a blog post about this on the Fearless blog that I do, and you can see my past results and my thoughts about it and everything. But I always do a modified version. I actually am not doing it this year, but a modified version where, like, for instance, one year I did complementary colors, and I would paint the same scene with like orange and blue, and then the same scene with yellow and purple, and like I would just, you know, change it up each time just to see the different effects that I could get. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it does really force you to think about color in an interesting way. So it's something to consider if you are trying to expand your mind and with color. All right. Alright guys, the tiniest boat in the world! Kind of messed up the reflection, but it's fine. Oh, have a good day, Dry. Yeah, Dawn. Sorry, that's something I did as well. Like, try different color combinations and just see what happens, and or like focus on one particular color more than the others. It's really fascinating. What's for dinner? Wolfie.
Being interdicted.
Oh. This is a good thing to study before I go to Skye, because I love painting the coast. And it can be really intimidating. There's a lot going on. But this kind of reminds me, like, okay, just kind of pick a focus. Gonna be so cold when we go though, so if I am painting, it's gonna be fast. Like, it definitely won't be a long leisurely paint session. But we've done that before. We did a few times actually, and Wolfie is always so patient. I'm so lucky. right. Do I want to do more boats? Are we gonna add all the boats or just a couple? I think I'll do maybe one in the distance here. It's basically just a dot, you guys. Don't get too excited. I hope we are Xenium. We don't know for sure because England just went back down into an intense lockdown, and there's rumors that Scotland will. So it depends on what they categorize Skye as and where we live. Because right now we're both like zone 1 or category 1, which means it's okay to go. But, you know, a lot can change in 2 weeks. But keeping my hopes up. God, that's like the tiniest boat I ever painted. Hey, check out my dot. It's totally a boat, I swear. I mean, look at the size of this brush, okay? It's not even gonna focus, is it? That is... I'm using just the tip because look how... I mean, this whole boat is almost as big as the bristles. It's hard to even show it, so tiny. Compared to my finger. The teeniest little boat! He's gonna get a tiny little buoy. A little orange buoy. I feel like the shore could be a little bit brighter in some parts. I need to get like a dry brush on the shore so it's kind of speckled. Since I'm not doing anything too big, what I'm gonna do is take the tape off so we can really see our values and colors. I'm so used to this tape that it doesn't really like affect how I see it, but it's always really cool to reveal the final values of the painting when you take this off. No! Still a little wet, I guess. Let's see if I go the other way. It's not a makeup stream. I'm making up for Friday's stream, missed stream. That's what I mean. It always makes, so when the tape is on the paper, it makes the painting look brighter to me, in my opinion. And when I take it off, I actually see like how, oh, it's pretty dark. Still, I mean, obviously I still have some bright areas, but when I took the tape off the bottom, it revealed how dark that water was, which is awesome. Not good when your tape is wet, guys. Just tears the paper. Sake. We did it. Also, hi, Jim. Okay, so now I'll do some of the final little details. Makeout stream. maybe some hints of wow, guys. Wow. Oh, why accept Woosie? Poor Woosie. But I think we're pretty much done. There's always more we can do, you know, but I feel like I captured a decent amount of the textures and had a lot of fun playing with the lighting on this, especially this area. I should turn this into a postcard and send it to my friend who we stayed with when we were there. Does anyone have any final questions? Any last minute questions? Or, you know, comments, jokes? Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, I did post this on like social media and stuff, but some of my recent gouache paintings, I turned them into prints. So if you want, you have 1 week left to get in on this sale. I'm doing my annual print sale right now. So I think it ends November 15th. So as long as you get your order in before then, you get take advantage of the print sale prices. And I will ship them all out before December so that you'll get them in plenty of time before the holidays, which, you know, if you're going to give them as gifts, that's necessary. Some people told me that they really want to give them as gifts, so I was like, okay, we have to do the sale early. I like to buy these little 4x6 mats, and even if you don't frame it, you can like put these on there and it instantly makes it look fancy. I love how it looks. I have a bunch of different colors, like the white makes the darker ones pop a little bit more. And I even have a gray one, which is really nice for just kind of having a nice neutral border, but it still makes the art pop out. So yeah, and then depending on what size I buy these, I bought a bunch of these for, I think, bulk online, and they fit into 5x7 frames, so it's really easy. I just don't have any frames right now, so I have these lying around. But yeah, for all of you guys who already ordered prints, thank you. I just sent a big batch out yesterday, so you should be getting them soon-ish. I have the link is here. Sorry, I should have said that. If you want to order them, use the order form link in chat. I'm doing everything myself too. I'm not like outsourcing it. I'm printing them, I'm packaging and shipping. There we go. We have our Skye coastal scene. I should probably date these. I keep forgetting. I think I've dated like one of these pages in the last few weeks. Aw, hey Sweet Peach. Yeah, I'm just about to head out. Sorry about that. But as a reminder, I'll be streaming the next 2 Fridays. And then the paint along is on November 28th. So save the date. I'll put up like upcoming stream reminders on my channel to remind everyone. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Paint alongs are fun. All right, I guess I didn't see any questions, so I am gonna head out. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. It went by really fast. It was fun. You too, guys. All right, I will see you. I guess also if you want to hang out with me, I'll be streaming tomorrow on Twitch, so you could come over there. But otherwise, I'll see you next week. I know, the end of this week. Oh, what is time? All right, guys, I'm leaving you with the bye-bye screen. I'll see you guys soon.